This is the Great Basin Weekly Fuels Briefing. This is Friday morning, August 14th. This is where we compile fuel information from the fuels call we had back on Wednesday and plus some additional information, doing a little bit of a deeper dive into the fuels and to some of the weather that's affected them and what will affect them in the coming week. First of all, precipitation the past 7 days, it has been a wet one and significantly changed our fuel dryness landscape. You can see a lot of these greens here are a half inch to an inch and a half of rain covering a lot of area, and a lot of those all bluish, grayish shades are a tenth to a quarter inch to just under a half inch. Very few places stayed under the radar. Some of this is beam blockage down here in southeast Utah. It's big monsoonal train. You can see the percent of normal on the right-hand side. And as of this observation, we are not done yet. We still have today's rainfall, which is going to be widespread, moderate to heavy in eastern areas, and maybe light to moderate in western areas, and then lingering showers in the east on Saturday before things really start quieting down. So with that wetness, a lot of our short-term drought indices, this is the flash drought index, have kind of went neutral to even slightly negative here in the bluish shade. We don't see those extreme values, but we do see them on the longer-term drought monitor, where a lot of areas in the red to dark red are in extreme or even exceptional drought, where you see things here. So when it's like that, things can bounce back with 5 to 10 days of very hot, dry conditions. One of the new tools we have is the number of days since wetting rains. And you can see a lot of zeros here, meaning we've had them in the last 24 hours. And some spots in Idaho, it's been 20 to 40 plus days, but their days are coming in the next 24 hours up there as well. And I believe this was tabulated yesterday, and they did get a lot of wetting rains here. So this map up in the north is going to have a lot more zeros on it in the next 24 hours. Our fuel and fire danger percentiles, this is actually an old image. Let's look at the newer image here, and this basically tells the tale. This is today's ERC map on the left. You can see a lot of areas in that 50th to 70th percentile in the south and still getting wetter. And a big retreat from what we had just a week ago, where half of our geographic area was in 97 percentile or higher at record levels, and even southern areas were down near the 90th or 95th percentile, and that has significantly changed. And this is still going to be digested because the map on the left here. This was yesterday's ERC map. We're getting more widespread showers today and even continuing in some areas tomorrow. So we will see this moistening trend continue, and some of the heaviest rains coming up are going to be in our northern areas, in Idaho, in Wyoming. So you can say goodbye to this 97th percentile by this weekend for sure. We also have our fuel and fire behavior advisories. A lot of this was set up about 10 days ago before our wetting rain event started, and you can see the eastern Nevada and parts of northern western Utah in our first advisory and far western Idaho in the second. Both of these advisories will expire on the 19th, and as it so happens, 19th, I believe, is next Wednesday. So we're going to discuss this on the call, and depending on how much rainfall we get and how much fuels dry out or how much they don't will play a big factor in whether we let these expire or whether we extend them to a certain extent in some areas. So that remains to be seen. Initial attack really has died down quite a bit. We have some large fires from the Bug and Stallion fire and in Nevada near the Sierra Front. We have the Rocky Canyon fire that was, until a few days ago, putting up large pyrocumulus clouds. Is a very classic plume and fuel dominated fire. And of course, similar with the Wide Mouth 2, which was exhibiting fuel driven fire behavior, extreme conditions with a plume dominated fire there as well. But that was about a week ago, last time we had that event before things started to moisten up. Breaking things down up in the north, Idaho and Wyoming, we look at the Payette, and this kind of shows where we were just a couple of days ago, tickling that record level above the 97th percentile, but now we've dropped back down to somewhere towards the 95th or so, and this is a prognosis that in the next 7 days, we're probably going to bottom out in the middle of this orange. This is going to be somewhere, I believe it's going to be somewhere between like the 80th to 85th percentile. And then similar story in western Wyoming, dropping all the way down towards the 70th percentile, maybe into the 60s. And depending on how much rain they get, this could go even lower on some current model runs. The southern sawtooth also exhibiting a sharp drop, so everyone's going to see a drop, and a lot of this is due to wetting rain. So, not just the ERCs, but the fuels and the soil is going to remain damp for a while. So right through the next 7 days, we do not see a return to critical conditions anywhere in our northern areas. Looking at Nevada, also significant rainfall. We'll start with the northern part of Ely's district. Was also the 97th percentile, and then dropping down into somewhere into the mid 60s% range. And their story a little bit different. Drier air will start working in, so they're going to start working their way upwards through the 70th, maybe 77th percentile by day 7 from now. And that's really not critical. It's even that's a little bit below normal. This gray line is the normal line through here. The red line is records. So fuel staying below normal there for the rest of the coming 7 days, and that's part of where we have our fuel and fire behavior advisory. So we'll have to look at that in terms of extension. In the Spring Mountains, similar story. A lot of the drop has already happened. It's going to bounce back up, a curve up, but not significantly. And then in the Sierra Front, where we had our large fire complexes with the Bug, which had the Fred fire incorporated into it. A significant drop as well, all the way down to the 50th percentile in the next 2 days or so, and then it's going to make a U-turn and start going back up with drier weather. But 7 days from now, getting up towards the latter part of next week, only getting into maybe the 70th or 71st percentile, so and barely normal, so not that significant there. We shift eastwards to Utah, go up to northwest Utah, and again, with the moisture and rainfall also dropping down to significantly wetter than normal conditions. And even though there'll be a drying and warming trend late in the period, staying somewhere in the 76th, 77th percentile and below normal for this time of year in terms of the normal line. That's another area I believe we have part of that's in our fuel and fire behavior advisory. Also the Fish Lake, looking down there, significant moistening, bouncing back up maybe to the 80th percentile by the end of the period. And down in the Arizona Strip, a significant drop, lots of rain, and even when it wasn't raining, a lot of high humidity round the clock, well down below the 50th percentile, maybe limping back up to like the 59th or 60th percentile by the end of the 7-day period. And they had a similar big drop with a lot of rain down there before. And for that far south in our area, it is interesting. We did get some feedback from some of our fuel experts. This is in the Arizona Strip, a green up underway, kind of a secondary grass crop in some areas, and also the brush greening up and starting to drink with this recent week-long wet weather pattern and the 10 days of wet weather they had a couple of weeks ago. So that's not uncommon. So that's good news down there in terms of fire activity. Now, changes in our critical fuel status, this is what we had on the left last week, and then this week's almost identical. The only change here is in the Uinta Wasatch Cache, where they went totally critical. That's when they had the Rocky Ridge fire, and then the Uintas went yellow, and then the rain hit. So we'll see how truth and reality goes in here. So a lot of this was gathered data from 4 or 5 days ago leading up to our Wednesday call. And in these transition patterns, that's always a difficult thing when we're seeing certain things from our field reports and then we're getting set up for several days of widespread heavy rains, which will just wash away that prognosis. But in terms of the rainfall that we saw that had already fallen widespread, 1/2 inch to 1.5 inch amounts, today we expect another area of widespread areas and kind of light here in the green, maybe a couple of hundredths to 1/10 of an inch, a little locally heavier in the Arizona Strip. And then up here in the mountains of Idaho into western Wyoming, more like 1/4 to 1/2 inch of additional rainfall. And in a lot of these areas in between the showers, the daytime humidity is having a tough time dropping below 30%. So that's right around the moisture of extinction. We're not seeing that 15% critical level just about anywhere here. Tomorrow, still cool. We still have lingering Actually, this is the 3-day total. And then going to early next week, there's a short wave that could bring another quarter inch to maybe up to a half inch or so, depending in some areas in Wyoming. But again, I'll bring some higher humidity. We start drying out across central and southern areas. And the drying trend continues towards the end of next week, although there is the possibility of a Four Corners high rebuilding and setting up a little bit of higher moisture, higher humidity, and some isolated showers in the south that could produce lightning, but I don't think it'll have any critical effect. I think the fuels, as we saw by the fuel charts, are still going to be too moist. So summing things up, fuels moistening significantly due to the several days of wetting rains and cool temperatures that we've had. On top of that, additional rainfall, light to moderate Friday and Saturday before we get significant warming and drying region-wide. There could be a brief batch of showers in the Idaho and Wyoming mountains possibly. And the models are hinting that we should see a return to hot, dry conditions late next week, but when that starts, whether it's the middle of the week or next weekend, still up for debate. So that concludes our fuels briefing. Have a great day.